So today we're going to be talking a bit about the university outreach that we have in South Africa, in the hallways of academia. More than the temple in Chatsworth or the Rath Yatra, Srila Prabhupada wanted that Krishna consciousness be promoted at universities. It is something Parthasarathi Das Goswami Maharaj never lets me forget. Knowing that when Prabhupada came 40 years ago, this was one of his chief desires. And how is that happening now? We have 12 Bhakti Yoga societies around South Africa in different campuses with a range of programs in Gauteng, in Durban, and in KwaZulu-Natal, as well as in Port Elizabeth. What I'm going to go through now is a few of the platforms we've used to increase book distribution. What you're looking at is our general forum sessions. So each university has a session where, within the academic timetable, where students can do extracurricular activities. These are our general sessions. What you're seeing here is Westville campus, UKZN, which is where Srila Prabhupada spoke at when he was in Durban. Generally, in a forum session, we do between 1 and 5 books, pretty small. So we were looking at ways to increase this, and small techniques help, like making the session focused on a particular book and punting the book at the end, or someone came up with a brilliant idea of just handing a book around during the session and students get interested and purchase one later. These two following slides will focus on the kind of slow and regular distribution. The other thing that we do is book clubs, where students that have attended general programs then get into a book club, and we specifically focus on a book of Srila Prabhupada. Within Howard College in UKZN, we've worked with the Science of Self-Realization. In Westville, we've worked with the Nectar of Instruction. In Stellenbosch, which is one of the few, actually maybe the only place in South Africa, in Cape Town, where we have a very high percentage, or maybe 100% of white-bodied people attending, they've been studying the Coming Back book. Then we go on to kind of the big blasts in book distribution within the university section. In orientation week, which is when students sign up and you get the new first-year students coming, in more especially Gauteng, what they've been doing is signing up students and then giving them a free book. So 100 to 250 books go out a year on orientation day. The other good thing that WITS has come up with is exhibitions, where 3 times a year they do these very attractive, colorful exhibitions that students can come and learn from, and within 3 days they do 80 books. Now, I've went through all these techniques, but you see the numbers are not that high. So this is part of what I'd like to focus on, is why you should send all your book distributors to a campus. And this is the main reason. Unless our temples align themselves with the demographics of our country, we risk becoming extinct. Now, here I'd like to just mention that in college programs that we have around South Africa, the attendance is between 80 to 100% African, which is very much more aligned with the demographics of our country than most of our temples. So if any temple desires to be relevant to the future, it means that that has to change. And for that to change, our focus on campuses is really crucial. Now here's the myth. Students don't have money to buy books. It is a myth, because they do have money to buy something that they value. They would also purchase something if it's on a subsidized rate, smaller books that are cheaper. So they do accept books if we could make it available to them in certain campuses at the full price and in other campuses at subsidized rates. Now, why students? Because they're young, open-minded, willing to change, and they're an investment into the future. Why universities? This is a customer base that is almost inexhaustible. You have a fresh group of first years coming in every year and moving out to the end of 4 years, and it's continually changing. Your market here does not get exhausted. The broad scope is amazing. There is foreign students, local students, national students, postgraduates, all minds that are young and eager to accept the knowledge that we give them. Universities also have low security. If you're in with, as a student, there's no problem with speaking to students around. And it's much easier follow-up. The problems are that we go out on the street, give someone a book, we may even give them our details, but we may never see them again. At a university, what happens is you give them a flyer, you give them a book. Immediately they have access to a place they can go, kirtan, prashad, food that is sanctified. They have access to a program, a space they can link up to within their own workplace. So the follow-up is definitely better on a university level than just on street distribution. These are the words of, recently in Durban we had a group of, I think 2 and more, brahmacharis who were going out on book distribution for a month. It's pretty intense, traveling on the roads. And this was one of the feedback of one of them after they'd been to a campus where they were distributing. Students are more keen and open to receiving knowledge. They are waiting for us and actually reading our books and inquiring further. So you should have seen these devotees when they came back after 1 month. They were beaming, totally, really rearing to go, and they looked like they had an amazing time. And especially this devotee was ranting about something that happened in the Wits campus, where they had done 55 books per day of every day that they were there. And this is just an on-foot book distributor, doing nothing special. It's not really energy intensive, like setting up an exhibition or planning an orientation day, just meeting students from person to person. So the point is that if you're planning to increase book distribution on campus levels or at universities, the simple system of sending out distributors works. We don't have to reinvent the wheel here. It works, we just need people to come out and do it. Now, one other way that campus programs helps facilitate book distribution is that it helps us give us the facility of having entrance into commercial sectors that help within book marathons. Now, generally, it's difficult to get into malls and places that may look at us like some sort of religious fanatics and not know what we're really about. So therefore, pushing forward the work that we do at universities, working with students and the benefits that they attain from this, has given us a foothold into the commercial sector. What you're seeing here is part of a proposal that we use, approaching not just big malls, because actually they're not the best bet, but also smaller shopping complexes that have quite a high foot count, and presenting these proposals and showing them how students' lives change with books and on a campus program. They have been willing to give us access into their commercial sectors, rent us space at reduced rates, and even sometimes not charge us at all. So campus preaching, not only is it based on giving books to people on campus, but it can also be used to facilitate other preaching we're doing in other areas in terms of book distribution. Right, so what I have on this slide is a few suggestions from some of the campus preachers that we have around South Africa. And I'll just duly represent them. One of the thoughts is that we should have works that are compiled by younger devotees who are experienced and know the pulse of the people we're working with. If you have a product should be targeted to your target audience. So if we have a university target audience, books that focus on this target audience would be much appreciated. Fresher graphics. We do know that BBT Africa have come up with really good graphics in their first, especially the Beyond Birth and Death book, but some are not as appealing. So we have to look at the audience that we're in and what they can appreciate in. The Veda is an amazing book, and if we could get books like that in smaller books that are cheaper and easier for students to digest and probably buy. one of the thoughts of Hari Vilas Prabhu from Stellenbosch was that if you could have books that incorporate other branches of Vedic knowledge like Ayurveda, yoga, and Sattvic living, such as the higher taste and divine nature, the hidden glories of India, as well as the basic principles of Krishna conscious philosophy, because students are very much interested in these things. So this is a picture from the recent retreat we had in Madrand with over 40 students attending a national retreat, where all of them did get books as gifts and treasure them dearly.